Today I'm going to be reviewing the Benyar BY-5163M. This watch is available on aliexpress.com from Benyar factory store for $22. At the end of this review I'm going to be doing a giveaway for this piece. So firstly, let's look at the box that the BY-5163M comes in, and then I'll talk you through the other items one gets with the piece. So the watch comes in a cardboard watch box, which is protected by this matte black cardboard sleeve. There's a cutout in the sleeve to reveal the Benyar brand logo and emblem. So one removes the cardboard sleeve, and this is the cardboard watch box itself. Aesthetically pleasing finish to it. It's got a nice textured grain finish throughout, and on the lid it has the Benyar brand logo and emblem in silver. So one thing I like about the design is it uses two magnets in the lid and also the watch box itself, and the two magnets attract each other. It has a nice positive magnetic click, and this is a feature that I would like to see other watch brands use, and I think it's a credit to Benyar for being innovative. Inside, the watch is protected by this piece of foam, and there's also a secondary foam cutout piece to prevent the watch sliding around in the watch box in transit. So although it's a basic cardboard watch box, it is finished to a good standard, and bearing in mind the low tier price point of the piece, it's only $22, I think it's perfectly acceptable to use this kind of watch box. With regards to the other items one gets with the piece, Benyar also include this free gift. It's an elasticated plastic bracelet. One also gets a Benyar branded polishing microfiber cloth. I always think it's a nice touch for brands to include a branded microfiber polishing cloth with a watch, regardless of the price point. So credit to Benyar for including that, bearing in mind that this is a low tier piece. Lastly, one also gets this Benyar user's manual and international guarantee booklet. So the booklet is basic, it's in English only, and it does have some diagrams, and it does detail how to operate the quartz movement used in the piece, which is the Miyota 2115 quartz. So it does suffice in detailing how to operate the watch and also the terms and conditions of the international guarantee. I'm pleased to report that this Benyar is covered by a 12-month international guarantee, which is very reassuring. So with regards to the specification of the watch, the BY-5163M is a 42mm case. It has a 46mm lug-to-lug measurement. It has a thickness of 13mm and a lug width of 22mm. I feel that 22mm is the ideal lug width, bearing in mind that this is a large piece at 42mm. Now, despite the large case size at 42mm, it is a very comfortable and low profile piece to wear, because even though it has a domed hardlex crystal, it is only 13mm thick, and that's thanks to the use of the quartz movement. If this was a mechanical, manual wind or automatic movement, it would be significantly thicker than 13mm, including the domed crystal. So by having a flat stainless steel case back housing the quartz movement, they're able to keep the thickness down to 13mm. So this will fit easily underneath a shirt cuff if you wear business shirts and you need a daily wear piece. The other thing I like about it is the relatively short 46mm lug-to-lug measurement and the curved profile of the underside of the case. Really, the industry standard, and I consider it to be the sweet spot for watches, is 48mm lug-to-lug measurement, because that suits collectors with a smaller wrist of 6 to 7 inches, and it equally suits collectors with a larger wrist of 7 to 8 inches either. But 46 is a rather short measurement, and it means that the case really wraps around the wrist. So combining that with a 13mm thickness, it means that this piece wears very low profile. It's actually deceptive because of the large 42mm case. So wide piece but low profile, and short piece in terms of length. Very comfortable piece to wear for long periods of time. With regards to the case finishing and the bezel finishing, I have to give due credit to Benyar, because they have done an outstanding job, bearing in mind that this watch is retailed at only $22. The mirror polishing to the bezel is absolutely flawless. Mirror polishing to the flanks, top side of the lugs, in between the lugs, and also on the underside of the case. The pressed on stainless steel case back is also finished to a flawless mirror finish on the circumference. Centre section is beautifully laser engraved with the Benyar brand logo, as you can see, as well as the specification. Now there is a curiosity, or one could say it's an error, with regards to the laser engraving. On the case back it states 30 meters of water resistance. But however, if one looks at the 6 o'clock position on the dial, it's actually printed with 50 WR resistance quartz. So 50 WR, one would assume that means 50 meters of water resistance. So that's in contrary to the case back, which states 30 meters. So which is it? Is it a 50 meter water resistant piece, or 30 meters? So that's an error that I feel that Benyar need to rectify with immediate effect, because it's an embarrassing mistake to have 50 meters on the dial and 30 meters on the case back respectively. Solid stainless steel case back, and it's perfectly acceptable to use a pressed on case back rather than screw down case back at this low tier price point. The solid stainless steel crown is coin edge finished to a very good standard. Nice cap to it, which is chromed. Unfortunately it's not signed, but at this price point that is acceptable. In terms of the execution, there are two positive clicking positions, one for setting the hands for the time and one for setting the date complication. The date complication is at 3 o'clock. White date wheel with black numerals. It's not framed. Now I do feel that the date window could be improved upon, because this is a domed sapphire crystal, so it does give it some slight magnification, but without a Cyclops magnifier and a small date window, it means that it's quite difficult to read the date complication. It's the 21st of the month, but it's actually very shaded due to the thickness of the dial, so that's something they could improve upon by enlarging the date window. With regards to the dial layout, I really like the applied indices, which is stainless steel. The applied indices are tapered. They give the impression of an Amiga Aquaterra in their shape. They also complement the Dolphin hands. The Dolphin hands are faceted, so they reflect the light, which is very aesthetically pleasing. And I really like the tapered shape of those applied indices and the Dolphin hands. They complement each other. And with regards to the dial finish, it does add interest to the dial that it's not just a plain matte black dial. It does actually have a radial textured finish. As you can see, it has like a sunburst finish to the texture on the dial. So, with regards to the crystal, I really like the domed crystal because it gives it a vintage aesthetic. Nice distortion when one tilts the piece at an oblique angle, as you can see, and one also gets the characteristic magnification effect. It's like a magnifying glass on the dial, which does help one read the date complication, which is undersized, as I've discussed. However, there is a negative side to using that domed Hardlex crystal. Hardlex is more scratch resistant than mineral crystal. It's effectively coated mineral crystal, and it's often used by Seiko. However, it's not as hard and scratch resistant as sapphire crystal, but one isn't going to get sapphire crystal at this price point. The problem is that it doesn't have AR coating on the underside. So yes, it is coated on the top side to make the mineral crystal Hardlex and therefore more scratch resistant. But there is a lack of AR coating on the underside, which means that it's very reflective. As you can see, it's got a lot of glare to that domed Hardlex crystal. When I tilt the crystal at an oblique angle, you can see the glare, and that's very distracting. It also is compounded by the highly reflective nature of the applied indices and the silver Dolphin hands. With regards to other negatives, a minor criticism is the lack of lume on the applied indices and the lack of lume on the Dolphin hands. I really think that with a small expense, they could have raised the price point from $22 to a higher price point, but included lume on the applied indices and also the Dolphin hands, and that would have improved the legibility of the watch. So with regards to the finishing, I think it's done to a very high standard. I do like the laser engraving of the pressed on case back, and also like the execution of the coin edge finishing on the solid stainless steel crown. Nice mirror polishing to the bezel, which complements the mirror polishing of the case throughout. With regards to the calf leather strap, it's beautifully executed, genuine leather. It's a nice thick strap which has a padded section in the centre. Now it is quite stiff, but I feel that if this was worn as a daily wear piece, the leather strap would soon break in and become flexible and comfortable to wear for long periods of time. Quality of the calf leather is very good. The stitching is flawless on the top side, and it's also done to a high standard on the underside. No loose stitches or imperfections. As you can see, it's pressed in with 22 for 22mm, and it is genuine leather. On the other side, it's pressed in with the Benyar brand logo, which is very aesthetically pleasing. And on the buckle and tang side, it has two leather keepers, one slides, one is fixed as one would expect. I want to give due credit to Benyar for the quality of finishing on the buckle and tang. Solid stainless steel buckle and tang, and it's nicely laser engraved with the Benyar brand logo, as you can see, so no cost cutting with regards to their finishing. Very nice executed thick buckle. I think it's going to be very durable and a good quality thickness to the tang. So nice heavy buckle and tang sets. So I do like the leather strap. I think 22mm is the appropriate size for the leather strap, bearing in mind that this is a 42mm case. Now there's no loom on the dial and hands, so I can't give you a loom test, but what I will do is I'll give you a wrist shot and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now this is something else I want to bring to your attention. I have a large 8-inch wrist, as you'll know from my previous reviews, and the strap is just a fraction too short. As you can see, I can just engage the buckle and tang in the first hole in the strap. So if they just made it a fraction longer, if they made it 1.5 inches longer, I would be able to engage the end of the strap in the two keepers. So that's something to bear in mind if you have a larger wrist, but if you have a 6 to 7-inch wrist, this piece will fit you no problem whatsoever. Now, credit where credit's due, I do like the proportions of the 42mm case. The short 46mm lug-to-lug measurement that I've previously discussed means that it wraps around the wrist very well. As you can see, it's not a tall piece at 13mm, even though it has the domed hardlex crystal. It does actually feel very low profile on the wrist, and it's deceptive. Because of the taper of the lugs, it means that it's a very well balanced piece. The head of the piece at 42mm perfectly balances the 22mm strap, which tapers down to 18mm at the buckle and tang. Incredibly lightweight and comfortable piece to wear, and that's a real positive of the watch because it only weighs 54 grams on the leather strap. And really 54 grams is the minimum weight for a 42mm piece. It actually feels weightless on the wrist, so if you're looking for a large, clearly legible piece that is comfortable to wear for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day as a work watch, this is perfectly adequate. I think that the 54 grams means that it's a very lightweight, comfortable watch, and as I've discussed, when that thick leather strap breaks in, it's going to be very supple and very comfortable to wear. A benefit of it using quartz is the very flat, smooth stainless steel pressed on case back. There's no heavy engraving to it, so it doesn't feel irritating or scratchy on the wrist. Very smooth and flat, and it just feels like a very comfortable piece. So the feel good factor is good. It's an aesthetically pleasing piece, lightweight and comfortable, and I think that it's just a good looking watch, nicely finished, and it could also potentially be worn as a dress piece, even though it's a large 42mm, due to the high quality mirror polishing to the bezel and the flanks of the case. It does have the impression of a dress watch, even though it's a large proportion. So, with regards to the movement used, it uses a Japanese-made Miyota 2115 quartz movement. The Miyota 2115 is a reliable, well-proven workhorse quartz movement, and I think it's a credible choice. I want to give due credit to Benyar that they haven't cut corners with regards to their choice of quartz movement. They could have, for example, used a Chinese-made Sunon movement, which would have been significantly less expensive. And really, to get a Miyota 2115 Japanese-made movement at only $22 is very impressive. So the frequency is 32,768 Hz, and that gives a good accuracy to the quartz movement. It has a stated accuracy of plus or minus 20 seconds per month, which is very impressive, and it also has a stated battery life of 3 years. So potentially you could buy this watch for $22 and wear it for 3 years before you have to change the battery. And I think that's very good. It's a very practical daily wear piece, and it's also reasonably accurate at plus or minus 20 seconds per month. So lastly, I'll surmise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet 2 criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. So the price point of this piece is very low at only $22. One cannot argue that it isn't excellent value. It is exceptional value. What do I think of the quality? Well, I also consider the quality to be excellent. Really, I'm very impressed with the quality of the case finishing and the fact that they've used solid stainless steel throughout. There's no plated brass to the bezel, the case or the case back. It's often a cost-cutting measure that watch brands will use brass cases and they will plate the brass with nickel to give the appearance of stainless steel, and then the nickel wears off and one can see the brass showing through. So credit where credit's due, this is stainless steel throughout. Also, credit has to be given for using a Hardlex crystal, which is superior to mineral crystal. And I really think that Benyar have produced the best quality watch they could have done for $22, including using a genuine leather strap rather than an imitation leather strap. So yes, I consider it to be excellent quality, and yes, I consider it to be excellent value at $22. I'm going to declare it a champagne watch for lemonade money, and I highly recommend it to you for your consideration. So, lastly, I'm going to do the giveaway for this watch. I want you to answer the following question. Which movement is used in my Rolex Submariner date 116610LN? So post your answer below this video and then I will choose a lucky winner to the giveaway and I will announce the giveaway in a subsequent video. Best of luck with winning the giveaway, and I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Benyar BY-5163M. Thank you very much.